Like damn, she wanna afford to touch me. I say I own it, and she got it.
What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's dive directly into NXT Heatwave from July the 7th, 2024. A very solid, fun show. I enjoyed it from start to finish. It was way better than Money in the Bank. Way better. Kudos to Shawn Michaels and his team. This was an excellent show. So, I did watch the pre-show. So, Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace, they defeated Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix. This was fine. The match was fun. Moving on, so this leads us into the first match of the night on the main card of Heatwave, and that was Obafemi defeating Wes Lee to retain the NXT North American Championship. This was a phenomenal match. I enjoyed this from start to finish. So Obafemi, he sold very well for Wes Lee, and vice versa. This match was extremely fun. You could tell that it was a fight. It was believable. Wes Lee definitely impressed me. There were some crazy spots in this match where Obafemi, where he basically threw Wes Lee headfirst into the exposed. When he hit him under the ring, I think that was great. Wes Lee did a couple kip-up spots in this match as well. In the end, Obafemi, he got the win via the sit-out powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. He also did the elevated toss that he's been doing as of late. I love that. I love it. Excellent. Wes Lee sold that shit like a champ. So Obafemi retaining was the right decision here. I'm trying to see what's going to happen on Tuesday. It seems to me like they may turn Wes Lee heel. It's going to be like a slow heel turn. That's just the only way that you can salvage Wes Lee. I mean, I do like Wes Lee. Or they could have him be reunited with the Rascals on TNA. I think that would be great. We'll have to see where this goes, but this was the right decision, and the crowd was super into this. This was excellent. I love this. Moving on, a match that was just as excellent as the first, that being Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruca for the NXT Women's North American Championship. This match was fun. This was hard-hitting. Sol Ruca, she brought in some submissions. She slowed down Kalani Jordan. She did a roundhouse in the match as well, a roundhouse kick. She also did a great springboard 450 lariat. That was kick-ass. I was like, oh, shit. So this was a great match. In the end, Kalani Jordan retains via the split-legged moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. This makes perfect sense. But Sol Ruca continues to impress me week by week. She's great. She kicks ass. This was a good match. So I'm guessing what they might do is maybe feud Kalani Jordan with Jada Parker. I think that would be great. I think they could build up Jada Parker. They could build her up to where she needs to be, and maybe she's the next one who actually feuds with Kalani Jordan going forward. I think that would be great. It seems like her feud with Mia Yim is definitely over with. So I could see in the near future at the Great American Bash, which takes place on August 6th, I could see a match between Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker. I think that would be great. So hopefully they do that, but we'll have to wait and see. But that match was tremendous. This was great. I thought maybe they were going to turn so Ruka healed, but thankfully they didn't. She just worked a real aggressive, slow style in this match, and I enjoyed that shit. It was fucking awesome. Moving on, so later on in the show, Ava was giving both ladies props on the victory on the kickoff show, that being Carmen Petrovich and Ariana Grace. So Ariana Grace begins to take credit for the victory and implied that Carmen Petrovich was the weak link, and now we're going to see who's really the weak link in this quote-unquote tag team. So on Tuesday, it's going to be Carmen Petrovich versus Ariana Grace. Great stuff. This is interesting. I do like this. Hopefully this leads to something, because Ariana Grace desperately needs a story to be in, and she needs to have something to do. Moving on. So, Chase U, which is Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, they were defeated by Nathan Frazier and Axiom for the NXT Tag Team Championships. So Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they retained them. This makes sense. The match was super solid. I enjoyed this. Chase U is still over after being a faction for 3 years. They've been around since the inception of NXT 2.0, if not maybe a month or two before. But I really do wish that Chase U would have won here. I see why why they had Axiom and Nathan Frazier retain. That does make sense. It seems like they're probably going to split up Axiom and Nathan Frazier in due time. Where does Chase U go from here? I have no idea, because it seems like we constantly think that they're going to implode and it's going to be over, but they always come back. And again, Chase U is actually the most over faction on NXT. It's the most over group on the show, and people have always loved them since day one of NXT 2.0. They've always loved them, and I even think even when they go to the main roster, I think they'll be just as over. But only time will tell, because I don't know how they would get over in the Triple H era, but definitely in the Vince era, they would easily get over with that gimmick. With Triple H era, I doubt it, because they don't have any work rate. No work rate. But the match was solid, though. Fun little match here. I enjoyed that one, too. I'm just trying to think, now that Axiom and Nathan Frazier are still tag team champions, who's going to dethrone them? And I think, hopefully, this coming Tuesday, hopefully, the Motor City Machine Guns show up. They have to show up. I don't see the Motor City Machine Guns showing up in AEW. They need to show up in NXT. They could work well in that tag division for about a good 6 months, and then bring them up to the main roster. I could see them being the ones to have a forever feud with DIY, and it would make perfect sense. But I think Motor City Machine Guns, they desperately need to show up on NXT. Desperately. Because if AEW, quote-unquote, has them, which they probably don't, then they need to go to WWE. They can't go back to TNA. It's either WWE or bust for the Motor City Machine Guns. So, that's cool. Like I mentioned earlier, the Great American Bash is going to take place on August 6th. And that's going to be on Sci-Fi. So that's probably going to not do well in the ratings for that show. Because whenever NXT went to Sci-Fi, they have always done poorly. That's just how it's always been. And part of me thinks that if NXT never would have gotten the deal with the CW, they could have easily switched and moved NXT to Sci-Fi. I think they would have gotten the deal. I think that would have been kind of cool. But like I say, we'll see how it goes, for sure. We'll see how it goes. Moving on. Roxanne Perez, she defeats Lola Vice to retain her NXT Women's Championship. She wins via 3 pop rockets in a row. She botches the second one, and she nails the third one. So in the middle of the match, Lola Vice hit the spinning back fist, but Roxanne Perez got out of dodge. So Lola hit her wrist on the ring post. Roxanne Perez then worked on the the wrist for most of the match, remainder of the match. Lola was able to fight back valiantly for a small bit by putting her in like arm bars and sleeper holds and stuff like that. And then Roxanne, she did a pop rocks on the announce table. It didn't break, so she threw her back in the ring, tried to get it too. Lola kicked out, and again she ended up doing the 3 pop rocks in a row. She botched the second one and nailed the third one, and so Roxanne Perez is still the NXT Women's Champion. Makes sense. I like Roxanne Perez as a worker. I think she's fantastic. Her problem, and the same with Lola Vice, their problem is their promo and their character. Roxanne Perez has she has the in-ring work down, but her character work is not good. She cannot cut a promo. Same with Lola Vice. She can't cut a promo, and that's not good. But at the same time, it's okay because she's still in NXT. Roxanne is just 22 years old. I don't see her going to the main roster for probably another maybe 3 years. So she'll probably stay in NXT for a good 5 years straight because she's hella young. There's no point of putting her or Thea Hale on the main roster for a while. I wouldn't bring her up to the main roster till probably about 2027, maybe even 2028. But Roxanne Perez is a solid in-ring worker. My only issue with her is just her character work. That's it. Her character work and her promo work. That's it. The match was solid. I thought Lola Vice was going to win here, but she didn't. And I see why Shawn Michaels did what he did. It still seems like we're saving Roxanne Perez for Julia, who probably will show up at the Great American Bash in August. And she has a broken wrist still, so I looked into it, and a broken wrist takes about anywhere from 6 weeks to 12 weeks to heal. So whenever she hurt her wrist, that being Julia, let's just say she hurt it in May, she should be ready to go by the Great American Bash. And then that way you can feud her and Roxanne Perez. Maybe you do the rematch with Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice at the Great American Bash. And then when Roxanne Perez beats Lola again for the second time, that's when we see Julia make her TV appearance, which should be fun. And that's something that I'm looking forward to. That's going to kick major ass. So, really good stuff. Match was solid. Moving on. So we had a Tony D'Angelo vignette. So he's gonna be putting his Heritage Cup on the line against Wesley, which should be fun. I'm pretty sure boring ass Eddie Thorpe, aka Carl Fredericks, he'll show his sorry ass up. For sure. Guarantee you that. That's a no-brainer. I wish Eddie Thorpe would go back to New Japan. or at least go to TNA or something. I have no fucking idea, but he is just not over with me. I don't get it. I don't. Main event of the evening, the Fatal 4-Way. Trick Williams versus Shawn Spears versus Jevon Evans versus Ethan Page. So Ethan Page, he gets the win in a surprising upset. And I'm not going to hold you guys up. This match was a fun one. I actually enjoyed this. Everyone played their part beautifully, even that lame-ass Shawn Spears. He did a good job in this match as well. Jevon Evans is crazy. He's like Ricochet from maybe 10 years ago. He's just that crazy. He reminds me of like a young Ricochet mixed in with Will Ospreay. Like, this guy just goes balls to the walls. This guy is insane. So there was a spot in the match where Trick basically just shoved him through the announce table, and the crowd started chanting rest in peace. So they'll probably start bringing that back on shows. I think that would be great. That'd be great. So Jevon told that very well. So towards the end of the match, Trick Williams, he started hitting trick shot knees on everybody, and he accidentally hit one on Jevon Evans and on Ethan Page, and Ethan Page just fell on top of Jevon Evans and got the 3 because Shawn Spears was holding the legs of Trick Williams. And that was probably by like mistake or whatever. Probably because he didn't think that he probably thought that maybe Jevon would kick out, and I did too, but it didn't happen. So Ethan Page winning this is fine. It makes perfect sense. I'm actually down for it. I like Ethan Page. He's got good heel work, but his problem is he does not have a character. And I've been a fan of Ethan Page since his Impact days when he was in the North with Josh Alexander. He got fucked over in All Elite Wrestling. But Ethan Page winning, it does make sense. So Trick is now going to Chase, which makes perfect sense. And I think we might see a point to where Trick regains his title. Maybe he regains it at the Great American Bash, which is in 4 weeks. Or they could hold off on that and maybe give Ethan Page a little run with the title and then switch the title back to Trick Williams before they head to the CW in October. I think that would be kind of cool. Also, before NXT went off the air, we got a quick graphic of Joe Hendry showing up, which was great. So that makes perfect sense. And I actually do like what they're doing with Joe Hendry and TNA. It took them forever to do something with Joe Hendry because he was the digital media champion for a little bit, and that's all he really did. But now he's in the 6-way, and he's my pick to win at Slammiversary. He's going to become the new TNA champion. I think that would be great. So they might be teasing a program between Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. Or they could be saving Joe Hendry to when Trick ultimately regains his title back at the Great American Bash, where it could be Trick Williams staring down Joe Hendry. I think that would be great. So they might go that route as well. But NXT was solid. NXT Heatwave was solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really good stuff. Forgot to mention, Wesley was backstage. He was pissed off and everything else. And he will address the NXT crowd on Tuesday. And he's going to tell everybody what's next for him. I'm actually intrigued by this because what they could do is where he might win. He might be the first one to challenge Ethan Page, and let's say that he puts his quote-unquote career on the line, he loses, and then maybe he can go back to TNA for a small bit and reunite with the Rascals in storyline. I think that would be pretty cool. So they might go that route with Wesley. I think that would be excellent. Maybe maybe Wesley is the first one to challenge Ethan Page. He puts his quote-unquote career on the line in storyline, loses, and then we see him on TNA for a little bit. I think that'd be pretty cool. But Heatwave was very, very fun, and I enjoyed it. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.